Hi, welcome to my show, Enlifement. I am DocHoneycutt. Thank you for joining me today. I have a really great guest and a great show because I'm always trying to set you up for healthy success. So I have today on my show Miss Tara Long, however you want to say it. She say it's no wrong way. So it might come out either or for me today. But we're going to talk about tattoo health because there's so many people that are getting this great art on their bodies, but it comes with homework. You need to know how to take care of this art. So I want to welcome you to my show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Oh my God, thank you for joining me. I feel so honored that you're on my platform.
Well, I'm excited to tell people what we do and how to take care of their tattoos.
Well, let's get started. Tell me a little bit about who you are first and what you do.
All right. Well, my name's Tara Long. I work at Tattoo Me Charlotte here, actually in Charlotte. We're kind of located in South End. I've been tattooing about just under 3 years. I learned from a really well-known, very respected artist. Actually, he works at AP in Mooresville. His name is Mark Evans. I've always wanted a tattoo, and I kind of got away from that after high school and went to LA and fluffed around there for a little while, and so now I'm just finally getting back into it. And you can just tell when you're supposed to be doing something, and I feel like this is definitely what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
So when you say something that you're supposed to be doing, is it because you experienced, your first experience getting a tattoo, or you just thought it was just a cool job?
Ever since I was little, I was drawing on other people and drawing on myself, and there's not a lot of ways that you can do art for a living, and I've known since I was really, really little that art is where I need to be. So there's graphic design, you could be an interior decorator, you can do tattoos, but as far as raw artwork and just straight drawing, tattoos is where it's at.
So you talked about learning from one of the best. Now, tell us about the process as far as the education process with being a tattoo artist.
Well, there's a couple different ways to get into tattooing. The best way to do it is to find somebody like Mark who will find an apprentice and teach them the proper ways to do it. There's a lot of wrong ways to do it. So if you're taught the proper way, it helps eliminate some of that learning how to do stuff incorrectly or spreading disease and stuff like that. So it's really important to have somebody to teach you. There's I think there's a school you can go to, but I haven't heard a whole lot about that. But having a mentor is really the most important way to go.
So yeah, I asked a tattoo artist at one point, about the education process, and he said it was hard not. You just have to get in there and start.
Yeah, I mean, it took me years. You just have to find an artist and get to know them, and you can bring a portfolio to a shop, but it's not really probably going to get you where you want to go. You really have to make a connection with somebody and show them that you're going to put in the work, because it's not easy to do it. It takes a long time. You're going to be at the bottom of the totem pole doing stuff you don't want to do. And you just have to learn to do it and put up with it, and then eventually it'll pay off.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about tattoo. Well, no, we're going to talk a lot about tattoo health because we're here to help people. Yeah. And I know you've seen a lot of tattoos gone wrong.
Whew, yeah. I've seen a lot that I've had to fix and cover, but the most important thing is to it is an open wound, so to keep it clean, as you would any kind of open wound. That's what people don't get, is that they're playing with their dogs and going to the swimming pool, and those are things that you wouldn't do if you had an open wound, stitches or whatever. So people don't put it in the same category though.
So is there any contraindications, any reasons why a person could not get a tattoo?
There's a bunch. There's some types of illnesses where your blood is thinner. Sometimes that might have something to play into it, where you might not want to. If you're pregnant, definitely don't. There's some, factors in that, if you were to get an infection, it could pass to your baby. You just don't want to do that. So there's a couple different reasons that you wouldn't want to.
Okay, so how about a person that's diabetic? Could they get a tattoo? Because I know, sometimes it takes wounds a little bit longer to heal.
Yeah, you just have to be careful with stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your body healthy as long, while you're going through the process of getting tattooed and the healing process. So make sure you keep an eye on your insulin levels and stuff like that, just to take extra precaution.
Now, I noticed that when I came into your studio, just kind of peeked in, and you all had, you had your stations, and everybody was getting some, getting art in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So what if somebody wanted something that was like really private? That instance, what did you all do?
It depends on there's different shops and stuff, so sometimes we have curtains that would come, and you'd like pull the curtains so that like they're not as exposed to everybody. Other shops have different rooms where you can actually like close a door. We have something called an open shop, so that's all of our tattoo artists tattoo in one big area. But like I said, we have those curtains that can zip shut.
So I looked, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
everybody's out here, just kind of out here. I didn't even think to look.
They're like tucked against the wall for the most part, because you want that open feeling. Clients can talk to each other. It makes the whole place feel bigger. But yeah, if there is a private something, we can close it off.
So how can you assure me that all of your equipment is clean? Because I know that's one of the biggest things about, getting a tattoo.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, I can't stress enough, like, you want to go to somebody that is legit, that they know what they're doing, because it is easy to reuse needles and all that stuff. Like, if you're not cleaning that stuff properly, you can pass bacteria and infection. So what you want to do as a tattoo artist is just make sure that everybody is clean. So at our shop, actually I think everybody at our shop uses disposable, which is everything we use that touches ink or touches human or whatever is thrown out after every tattoo. Even if it's your brother or your mom or your significant other, like everything is cleaned every single time. And then we have, special chemicals that clean up everything you're sitting on. We have covers that go over everything. But some shops, a little bit old school shops, use an autoclave to clean their needles and stuff when they're done, so they can reuse them, and that's a whole other process of like, you have to clean them, and then you have to put them in an autoclave, which superheats it and steams it, and so it cleans it kind of like stuff at a hospital, the same type of thing. But like I said, we don't use that at our shop.
So tell us a little bit about the ink that you all use.
Okay.
Is it like a FDA
well,
regulated,
actually, the FDA doesn't regulate it. It's actually regulated down, not even the state, it's down to the county. So everything we do is regulated by the health department within our county. Ink isn't necessarily regulated, but that's why, again, it's so important to go to somebody like a reputable artist and a shop that's well known, because then they know you're getting your ink from a proper place. Like, there's a couple different ones, like World Famous and Eternal Ink. Like, those, you're not going to get any type of weird things in your ink or anything like that. Like, they're well known.
So, now, is there certain things that you want tattoo on a person?
Like, image-wise, or just?
Yeah, well, I got a tattoo many, many, many years ago. And the guy, he was like, well, if you want your husband's name or your boyfriend's name on your body, I don't do that.
Yeah, so. I mean, we try not to do that, just because they call
that
a curse.
You know what I mean? For that, but he just kind of like, let it be known, but I don't do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, we try not to do names just because that tends to go wrong, and then they're going to be back covering it up if it does go wrong. So you never know about life. We don't do anything like any kind of hate symbol. I won't do a swastika or a Confederate flag or something like that. Just some things that I don't want to put my name to it. If that's what you believe in, then that's fine. You can do whatever you want, but I have a moral standard. And I think everybody's different. Like, I'm sure you could find someone around to do it, but, it varies by artist.
So let's talk a little bit about infection.
The fun stuff.
Yes. Tell us a little bit, like, things we should look out for, different stages.
Okay.
What's a good tattoo? That's been healed properly.
Yeah.
And
All right. Well, it starts by, in the first 3 days is like the most important. So that is when your tattoo is considered an open wound. So you want to make sure you're cleaning it properly. You want to make sure people don't wash their hands first, which is like the most important thing. Anytime you will go anywhere near your tattoo, you want clean hands. So wash your hands first and then wash the tattoo. Same thing with even people just like go grab their lotion and put it in their hand and then put it on the tattoo. Don't do that. Wash your hands and then put the lotion on. So I can't stress that enough. Clean your hands. Your hands are dirty. You touch everything. Even if you're touching like your hair and then you touch clean your hands. Totally just clean your hands. Your tattoo cannot be clean enough, so definitely wash.
So how long is the healing process?
It varies. It depends on, like, if you get tiny little script, it could be a few days versus if you get like a whole arm piece or a back piece, it could be a couple weeks. It goes through actually a bunch of different stages too. So originally, like right off the bat, it's an open wound. It's going to be weeping, which is like it sounds gross and it looks gross, but it'll be like oozing stuff. Eventually that will stop and it will scab. And so the scab is like basically the whole, almost like a sunburn. The whole top layer of your skin is going to like harden. That's fine. It's going to get itchy. People itch it. Don't scratch it. Don't itch it. No. So it's going to go through like a peeling stage where like basically the whole top layer is just going to like flake off. Mm-hmm. That's what you want. You want that whole top layer to flake off real easy. Don't pick at it. People like, even I'm a picker. I have a hard time with that. But don't pick it. Let it do its thing. Actually, and if there's big scabs or whatever, just let it do its thing because the ink can actually be pulled back out of those scabs into your body. So then it's going to like peel off and it's going to be shiny. Like your whole tattoo is going to be like this shiny. It almost maybe will look hazy in spots. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh no, it didn't stay. It did. Your skin over top of your tattoo is trying to heal itself. Completely let it heal. In like 6 weeks, it should be back to normal looking skin. That's how your tattoo's going to look. So that's like probably 6 weeks is about like totally healed, done and done.
Now what happens when a person comes in and they show you something that they want, and then after you do it, they feel like they didn't get what they want? How do you handle that?
I mean, that's a tough one because it's very important to vibe with your artist. That's why it's so important to pick the right artist so that you know that like you and them are on the same page. Because there's lots of times when my style isn't the style that you're looking for, but you come to me anyway, and you're going to get my style, you know what I mean? So you want to look through portfolios, you want to make sure that like the artist that you're picking, you communicate with them, you bring them references, you talk to them, so that you can get as close as you can to the end that you want. You know?
So do you do like a pre-consultations?
Yes.
Because this is like almost like surgery.
It is like you would, you got to interview a doctor. You're gonna interview. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like it's very, very important. So and there are times where I've been like, I'm not the right artist. Like, here's Chad. You might want to talk to him. That's more his style. So that's an important thing to do. Is definitely be on the same page.
I know. When I came in, Heather gave me this. Kind of like an intake form, because you need to know about health and just a little bit about the person. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a doctor. It's almost like me, So let's talk a little bit about the intake process.
Okay, so initially you're going to come in for your I can start with consultation. So you're going to come in, you're going to talk to me. We're going to go through what you want to get. You're going to send me pictures. We're going to talk about it. We're going to book your appointment. Then on the day that you come in for your appointment, you're going to read through a paper and you're going to sign it. So the paper basically says, it's our consent form. Do you know it's permanent? Do you know this? Do you know that? So you check all that off. And then we sit down and I draw it for you. And then I get set up and you can sit there and watch me. Everything comes out of a package and goes on there. Everything is touched with gloves. It's very clean. That gets all set up and then we go forward with the tattoo process.
So let's talk about some of the artists that are not credible.
The ones that you get in your basement.
Exactly. I mean, I've heard, like on the news sometimes where they're like, go get tested for hepatitis because, let's talk a little bit about how do they get away with this stuff?
Oh, they're not supposed to. If, for instance, I was caught tattooing anywhere other than my booth at my shop, like my specific booth at my shop, I can get my license pulled. Like, they don't joke around about it. So, you can go to jail for it. Like, it's a pretty serious offense if you get caught doing that somewhere other than where the health department comes in. The health department's pretty strict on us. They check everything. They go through our records. They make sure everybody's 18. Like, they're pretty strict about it. So, to get caught doing that's a big deal. So people are crazy to do that. I don't know.
That was my next question. Is there an age where a person can get a tattoo?
It varies by state. That's controlled. That's one of the only things controlled by the state and not the county. In the state of North Carolina, you can't sign for it. You have to be 18 years old. There are different states that allow you to be 16 with a parent signature, which blows my mind because I remember me at 16 and that would have been a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. Who knows what I would have had on my body? I mean, I even have ones from when I'm 18 that I'm like, wow, that's been lasered off twice. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm proud of North Carolina for, like, stepping up and being like, it has to be 18. So.
Is there any rules to, like, if a person has high blood pressure or a fever at that time?
You can't be sick. So what we're doing to your body is pretty intense. I mean, we're basically destroying a few layers of skin and putting ink in there. So it's very tough on your body to get a tattoo. So if you say you even have a cold or a sinus infection and you come get tattooed, it can be your body's trying to heal so much at once that like it can actually cause an infection, or it can be harder on the tattoo process and the healing process to where like it might get infected. You don't really know. So you don't want to be sick in any way when you get tattooed.
Wow. Hear that?
Heard that.
I know you've set this date and you're ready to get it done, but if you feel compromised in any kind of way, just go ahead and reschedule.
Yep.
Okay, so aftercare at home. I've gotten my tattoo and I love it. I'm at home. What should I do?
Okay, so when you leave the shop, it should have a bandage over it. They're sterile bandages, any type of something like that. It varies by artist. Some people use different stuff, so it's going to be bandaged. When you get home, take the bandage off, clean it, clean your hands, clean it, and then you really like less is more when it comes to tattoos. You don't want to over put lotion on or anything like that. It needs to breathe. No petroleum-based anything. So like unscented lotions, Curel, coconut oil, fantastic. So you want to just wash it, keep it clean for the first 3 days. That's all you want to do is just wash it. And then, when it starts to get that second stage, is that dry, itchy stage, start putting the lotion on it. Again, clean your hands before everything. So it's not terribly hard, but people don't treat it like an open wound. So you don't want to do things like go to the gym and sweat, or go to the pool, or go to Carowinds for the day. Like, you just want to be conscious of the fact that you have an open wound.
They think it's just...
Yeah, people, and there was that case where that kid went swimming in the ocean and got that crazy enzyme-type bacteria, and it killed him. Like, it's not a joke. Like, it's for real. You can get infected. Now, there is a difference between, like, a healing tattoo that's healing a little rough, and you're putting lotion on it, and it gets a little red, to an infection. Like, you'll know if a tattoo is infected. It gets, like, red lightning bolts kind of come out from it, and, like, it oozes, like, green and yellow. It's really... you'll know if it's infected. It's gross. And you are, like, uncomfortable. You have a fever. Like, you'll know.
So we actually got some pictures of some different illustrations.
They're pretty gross.
Yeah, so, we'll have those on the screen. So, let me see. We basically covered a lot. There's a whole lot more that we could cover.
Yeah.
So, how long, you said depending on what you get, is how long it takes the process.
Yeah, I mean, definitely be aware of your tattoo and know that it's open for at least a week. Like, that's bare minimum. And then it could be up to 6 weeks depending on what you're doing.
So how do you make somebody feel comfortable as far as, like, the pain?
You can take some things. I mean, it is going to swell. It is a wound, so it can, anything like that. So Benadryl might help. Ibuprofen might help a little bit.
Like, while you actually doing,
you just got to suck it up. I got nothing for that.
What is, like, the most tender part of the body that, you...
Personally, I mean, from my personal experience, I think, like, behind the knee, and then my neck wasn't great. That wasn't
behind
awesome.
the knee? So you don't...
Well, it's really tender there.
So you don't have one behind the knee?
No,
though.
I do.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How would you know if you have not?
No, I definitely do, and it wasn't fun.
It was not fun.
No, kind of in the armpit, I think would feel the same way. I don't have one in my armpit, but I would assume that feels a lot like.
Because like, I think people say that wherever you have like, you don't have a lot of fat.
Yeah, I mean, actually, from my experience tattooing, I think it's more of like tendons. So things like, you're like right here actually probably isn't great because you have a lot of tendons there, the top of your foot. Things like that probably hurt more than just like fatty or skinny areas.
Amazing. I mean, just for you all to, it has to be a gift for you to be able to, somebody to tell you what they want, and you have to think it in your head and be creative enough to put it on paper.
It takes a while to learn.
A person's skin. Tell us a little bit about the equipment that you all use.
Okay, so there's different actually types of machines too. So there's like a rotary machine or a coil machine. People are more leaning towards like rotary now, which is what I think everybody at our shop uses. And then we actually use cartridges too, which versus a needle, a cartridge is just like a tiny little thing, and you plug it into the end of your machine. So you can swap them out almost like paintbrushes while you're working. You can have a bunch of different ones. versus having to change out an entire needle system at a time, which is takes a little bit more time to do that is all.
Do you all teach any kind of workshops on, like that?
I don't. If you're going to do that, you're going to have an apprentice. And you're going to teach your apprentice. You're not probably going to teach the world your trade. You're going to teach one human your trade so that they can pass it on. So some people, if you go to like tattoo conventions and stuff, they'll do workshops there where these big name artists will come in and tell you what they're doing. But as far as like local shop to shop, I don't think so.
Well, I was speaking more for somebody like myself because, like I said, everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And they need to know that, it's just not, it's nice, but it's not, everything is not good that comes with it.
Yeah.
It could go, sometimes
it's
go the other way if you don't do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So always wash your hands.
Yep. And the biggest thing I can stress is like go to a good artist. People don't want to wait is the problem, but like the longer the wait, the better that artist is for the most part. So you really just want to find the right artist. You don't want your buddy to do it for a 6-pack of beer in his basement. Like that's how you're going to get a bad tattoo that you're going to have to cover later, or something gross like you're going to get an infection. So it's just really important to find a good artist.
And that would be my thing. See, you would be just sick of me. You would be like, Doc, I need for you to go home right now because I'm be like, is that clean? Did you sterilize that? I'm telling you, because even when I go to like, I don't eat out often, but sometimes I run by Subway or somewhere and get me a salad. And I'm looking, if I see somebody come off of the register, which I've seen a million times, they'll come off of the register and they'll go pick gloves up without washing first and put the gloves on and contaminate everything that I'm getting ready to put in my mouth. I walk out.
Yeah, it gets really intense too because it's easier than you think to cross-contaminate things. People just don't think about it when they're doing it. Like you have to just be cautious of like, even if I were to go like put fresh gloves on, go tattoo for a little bit, go grab an ink bottle that's sitting out and pour the ink in there. I'm not touching ink to ink, but like putting the ink and then putting the bottle down, I've cross-contaminated.
Exactly.
People don't think about it. You got to take your glove off. You have to take the bottle. You have to put it down. Then you have to go wash your hands again because you've now touched something. So it's a lot. It's a lot for people to remember.
So, you all are making sure that we're safe. So how do you make sure that you're safe as well?
By the same process, just keep it clean. Put a lap cloth where, so I'm right-handed, so my setup is here, I'm tattooing here. I'm constantly dipping and going across, so if something drips, it's not dripping onto pants or anything like that. Like if I had a cat scratch on my leg and ink dripped in there. You just have to be careful. Cover everything. Just be cautious of that.
How long have you been doing this?
Almost 3 years.
Okay. And loving every bit of it.
Oh, every second.
People from, I love my profession as well because I get to meet all different people, and I feel like I make them feel good. I know when they leave me, they feel like a different person. Yeah. And I'm sure you do a lot of that, have that same impact on people as well.
We do a lot of really meaningful tattoos. People put meaning in everything, but the really, really meaningful ones, this was for my dad who passed away. And you can tell when they leave, they get all teary-eyed, and I know that I made a difference so that now this person will be able to memorialize them forever. So it's a good feeling when you make people feel good.
So we want to get back on care. So tell us why they have to have this sheet again when you come in, the intake form. Why does a person have to fill out the intake form?
That's actually for the health department also. They require that so that they know the information that's on that. So you know that you're 18 years old. You know that you're not. It even says on there, I'm not pregnant. If I have any blood diseases, I'll let you know. Stuff like that. Just information for us to know and for you to know that, you're... And you have to sign it every time. It's not like you just sign it once and then you're done. Every time you come get tattooed, you are reminded of those things that is on that sheet.
Do you have people that you have to turn away, because of what's on that sheet?
No, the only thing is age. For the most part, I can't just be like, hey, are you pregnant? I can't straight up ask that, but if you write it on here, I can say, hey, this is one of those things, please read through this and make sure you agree with all of this, a consent form. Agree to everything on here. If you sign off on there that you're not pregnant, then that's it. You've signed off on it. If something happens to your baby, that's on you now. I don't know. I'm not going to assume every girl that walks in there is pregnant, so...
Now, do you find a person that comes back, if they didn't care for the tattoo the way that they should, and it's looking terrible, which I saw pictures when I was there, do you refer them to, somebody, like a professional at that point, or you all try to...
For an like if it comes back infected? I mean, definitely...
Or it just comes back, it doesn't even have to be to the point where it has gotten infected, but it's starting to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, definitely at the first sign of anything, I would say go to a doctor. Don't joke around about that. Like, it can escalate real quick. So if you've been, like, playing in the dirt with your dog and you know that it comes back and it's looking pretty rough, like, go get help. Like, go see your doctor with that.
Did they come back and, like, let you look at what's going on first before?
I've never had anybody do that, but I'm sure that they could.
Yeah.
I think if they got it from me, I might be the first person that they come to be like, does this look okay? I'm like, no, I'll go somewhere. I shouldn't be green. Gross.
Okay, so we got 2 more minutes, so give us some last minute tips on tattoo health. Okay.
Well, I mean, definitely for the longevity of your tattoo, for your lifetime, you want to use sunscreen just because that will help it. You don't want to get a sunburn or it will fade. So definitely sunscreen forever, always, at least 50. I know you don't want to hear that. All y'all tan people. But again, just clean it. You can, if you want to stay away from dogs and cats, definitely dandruff is really not good for it. You can wrap it again if you feel like you need to. For the first couple days, just make sure you're changing out that wrap constantly. You don't want to let it stick to anything. Your sheets, you want to have clean sheets every single night. But if it doesn't end up sticking to something, soak it first. Don't just yank that off there. You're going to pull that whole tattoo off. Yeah. So just soak it if you have to. But, if some people work jobs where they have to wear long sleeves or something like that, cover it first and then put the sleeve over it. You don't want to stick fabric right to your open wound.
Okay, you heard it right here in my studio. Oh my God. Wasn't it a good show, y'all? I want to thank you for joining us tonight on Enlifement. I want to thank you for giving them great information.
Well, thank you for having me.
You have to come back.
Oh, I will.
Okay, you ready now. TV ready. That's what I'm talking about. You guys, thank you for joining us. Join me right here on Radio and TV Network. Have an awesome, awesome day. We're growing. And guess what? We're winning.